Ooh, Wallabies versus Springboks at Suncorp Stadium. Can't wait. It's going to be a huge match, guys. Firstly, in this video, I'm going to be covering a couple of talking points, and at the end, I'll give you my prediction on who I think will win the Wallabies versus Springboks at Suncorp Stadium. Look, the first thing that is worth a mention about this match is, look, can the Wallabies match the Springboks physically? That is a huge ask for them. You just look at the box and some of their players like Eben Etzebeth, Bongi Manambi, Sia Khaleesi. They're huge men, aren't they? And they just love the physicality. They love smashing people at the breakdown on defence. Yeah, so I think that's going to be a tough ask for the Wallabies. Obviously, the Wallabies, they are developing. They do have some world-class players, particularly Fraser McWright. He is definitely world-class, but that will be a tough ask, I think, against those huge Springbok men. Obviously, additionally, Malcolm Marx, another talking point there. Will he be the starting hooker for the Springboks? Look, he is probably the best hooker in the world at the moment, isn't he, guys? Let me know your thoughts on that. Yeah, will they start him for once? I personally quite like Malcolm Marx starting, but yeah, it's Rusty Erasmus's decision in the end. But look, he's superb, isn't he? Look, he's just a lump of a man, huge specimen, but just his work at the breakdown, he is just so tough and so hard to move at the breakdown. The size and power that he has, the ball carries that he makes, and on defence, he's just brutal, isn't he? He's a hell of a player. The second big factor, though, I think is Suncorp Stadium. Now, look, historically, the Wallabies have a very, very good record at Suncorp Stadium. They have beaten the All Blacks a number of times there, and even the Wallaby players themselves have said there's something about the water at Suncorp Stadium that's almost like certain stadiums in the world have sort of a spirituality with it, I reckon, guys. For instance, New Zealand, Eden Park. South Africa would be Ellis Park. Suncorp Stadium, I think that effect will certainly help the Wallabies. But, another factor again is the Wallabies, they are a developing side under Joe Schmidt. Joe Schmidt will be developing systems really, really quickly, and I'm sure he'll be playing a pretty expansive, fast game against the Springboks. I certainly don't think he'd want to be taking the Springboks on physically. I think that would be pretty unwise, and I think they're probably the most physical team in the world. So you're not going to beat them playing their own game. So I think they'll play quite an expansive game when they can. And again, that Suncorp Stadium is quite a hot, expansive track, depending on what the weather is that night. But I imagine that the turf will be pretty tough and enable for some good running rugby. So that'll help the Wallabies. Players to watch for me, guys. Look, Damien de Allende and Jesse Creel, that centre combination with Andre Pollard I expect to be quite interesting for the Springboks. Look, Andre Pollard, he's phenomenal with his game management. Damien de Allende is, he is a big man, isn't he? But I like his physicality. He takes the ball to the line, and he's generally quite good at getting over the advantage line, but he's equally good on defence with his physicality. And Jesse Creel is just like a friggin' Olympic athlete, isn't he? He's just another big specimen with out-and-out speed. So that'll be a couple of good players to watch there anyway. Guys, prediction-wise, look, factors that I think are going to be pretty important. I think whether or not the Wallabies can match the Springboks, if the Wallabies can match them physically at the breakdown on defence with some ball carriers getting over the advantage line, I think it'll be a completely different ball game and well favour the Wallabies in that regard. The other factor is obviously the Suncorp Stadium factor. I think that'll significantly help the Wallabies. But even so, I just think that with a developing Wallabies side and the physicality of that brutal Springboks side and their forwards, and even the number of their backs challenging them the breakdown, I just think it's going to be too tough for the Wallabies. So my prediction, a tight match though, but a 5 to 10 point victory to the Springboks. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this first test at Suncorp Stadium. It's going to be an absolute ripper, isn't it? Who do you think's going to win, and who are your players to watch? Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and add any further comments you think are applicable for the first test between the Wallabies and Springboks. Can't wait. Cheers.